God. Make an effort. Joyful Lord. We got all these young people. We got to drop something out of there.
All right, good morning, everyone. So my first question is this that I'm going to ask you, and continue building up. How many of you have already started your praise on the way here? Excellent. Excellent. That's kind of the whole goal when we're talking about and dealing with this, when we're talking about preparing ourselves and getting our
I can't hear you. Microphone. They didn't turn on your mic.
It says green. Well, it says power on. Is green mean on?
Green should be on.
Turn it on, turn it off. Song. Okay. Yeah. Woo! All right. Yes. I wonder how did Jesus get past that with all those people there? I mean, he probably could command the winds and his voice would just carry out over. So yeah, the whole idea as we're doing these workshops, and this is workshop number 2, is to just start to make this just to become just common, right? And so for me and Phil, oftentimes when we're going around and doing circuit preaching, whatever, times when we're together, our rides, because sometimes we're traveling to congregations like 3 hours away, so 3 hours, I'm praising all the way there, and then I get to there and I get to praise collectively with the saints and stuff. And so it's a great day, it's an awesome day. And the nice thing about it is when I do it, it just prepares my mind and it gets me ready for being here with the saints. So whatever that I'm going through, sometimes, the song, whatever hits me and the words just hit me, and I'm driving, I'm just crying, I'm like, oh, this is great, this is awesome, because the words mean something to me. But it's like you're preparing your heart for worship. And so that's the thing that we want to try and get ourselves kind of in the mainframe. So if you think about this, if you think about you're going to be in the place in the future where you can just praise him and worship him all the time, it's like, well, what would that kind of look like here? And so that's what we mean, just preparing and getting ourselves, I'm going to say, a taste of heaven. All right, so remember 4 months ago, we did our first one. So I'm just going to review just a few things here. And I want you to start focusing on them again. And so now, remember the last time I asked you, why do you sing? And I want you to think about, has your answer changed a little bit? Has it morphed a little bit more? Has it improved? Has it increased a little bit more? What is your answer? Why do you sing? Now, we have said there's many things. It's a command, right? So, if I don't do it, a lightning bolt, whatever, might strike me or something like that, okay? And that's just at a different level. For some of us, well, I just like to sing. I love to sing. And then for some, it's just, it's an act of worship, right? So I'm commanded to do it. But we're trying to get a little bit deeper. Why do I sing? What has God placed within this that gives me the opportunity? So you have your why. That's your determiner. That's your overall arching why you do whatever it is that you do. But when we come here and we sing the songs, then it's really this. It's like what motivates you to sing. So as you're singing that song, what motivates you to actually sing that particular song? So in other words, think of it as I'm in the moment. I'm in the moment with God as I'm singing these words. And what is motivating me about this song to actually sing those words, to connect with those words? What motivates you to sing? And so that one, like we said, it's not overall, it's in the moment, okay? So think about it as you and God, you're just connecting, whatever, downloading, upstreaming, and it's like what is going on at that moment. And here's the thing, when we think about our relationship with God, our relationship with God should be one that is dynamic. In other words, it's always changing, morphing, improving, ebbing, and flowing, because that's how life is. That's how you can tell that you're alive, that growth is actually taking place and reflecting the change, hopefully, that is taking place internally on the inside. And so when we do that, then what we're trying to do is we're trying to allow that to be expressed actually in our singing. So I want you to think about that even today, just to review what is motivating you as we sing each of those songs. Now remember last time we did a little bit of physiology, and so we talked about our right brain and our left brain, and that was just to help us to really appreciate what God has done by giving us this gift of music. And so when we looked at it and we read it, we said, well, you know, what is kind of going on up here? And what does it look like to actually elevate your song worship? What does it look like to actually elevate your song worship as you continue to improve and try to improve? Now, so remember we said that when you sing, or music in general, will activate 3 of the 4 lobes in your brain. Okay, 3 of the 4 lobes are activated, but you have 4. And so our brains have been created in such a way that we can actually give God all 4 lobes. Okay, so you can actually worship him with all your heart, your brain, your mind, your strength. You can give him all 4 lobes. But remember, in order to do that, what we have to do is we have to actually activate that 4th lobe. And that comes, of course, through visual processing. So that's one of the reasons I asked you that whatever song it is, what is your visualization for that song? How are you seeing those words and relating to those words? And what are the pictures that are actually coming to your mind? If you notice Jesus, when he would go around and teach, of course, he created us, so he knows how our brains work. But you notice he would often use parables, or he would use story pictures. And that's because our brain just gravitate towards those things. It makes it easier for us to remember. And so when you're singing, you've got the 3 going, but then once you start visualizing, what happens is it captures that 4th lobe. And that's the thing when we talk about the power of music and how powerful that God has created it, of course, you know, in our brains. And that's the reason the song can come on the radio, and your brain will take you back to whatever, 1950 or 1960, whatever, to a certain event that was going on. Because your brain brings that visualization piece in, and there it is, as if that you were actually there. That's the power that the brain has been given by our Almighty God. And so how are we using it to actually serve him? All right, so we're going to do a little exercise here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a song, and I'm going to ask you, however it is, you're going to visualize the words of the song and what they mean for you.
Every heart.
What did you visualize? Someone share. What did you visualize with that song? Okay, being in the presence of the Lord.
I visualize the Garden of Eden, the Lord God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like that. Well, I'm going to steal that. Thank you. What did you visualize? In other words, how did you make the song personal, right? And that's actually how you start, actually the words come to mind, and like you don't even need the PowerPoint because you have the visualization there. Now every time I sing that song, I'm almost in tears because I'm asthmatic, serious asthmatic. And so when I sing those words, it's your breath in our lungs. I'm just so thankful, I'm just so appreciative that I can even sing. Right? Because I remember as a kid, I had it so bad, it was almost like every week they were rushing me to the hospital, and I'd be sitting in the back of the truck just thinking, oh, this could be it. Just a little kid, just thinking, oh, this could be it. So you kind of get used to it after a while, then you're like, okay, I'll just pass out and whatever. But still, it's like you're suffocating. And so then when I think of that, I'm like, man, I'm so grateful, one, that I can breathe. And so all the air, whatever that I take inside my lungs, I'm going to use to praise you, right? And so when you make the song personal like that for you, then it makes it easier to remember, but then what it does, it operates that fourth lobe, and now you're using all the lobes in your brain. Now, a new one that came up for me this morning, because like Phil scared me last night. So, we're sleeping there in the hotel and stuff, and I can't tell, did he stop breathing? He doesn't have a CPAP machine on, and I hear this whatever that I've never heard before, like gasp, and it wakes me up out of my sleep, right? And so I run into the next room, Phil's laying there, and I'm just waiting for the next breath, right? And, and I'm thinking, and I'm getting a little bit selfish here, okay, don't die on me now. Wait till we finish after the workshop, okay? And then he took another breath. And I'm like, okay, we're okay. But the breath, the life that we have inside of us is so precious. And so learning to visualize that with the song is what's going to help you to bring all your heart, your soul, your mind, and your strength. And so when you give yourself specific examples, like I love what you did, David, there, and like I said, I'm going to steal that one from you now and use that one also when I think of that song, because that's just beautiful to even see that picture of God breathing the breath there into man, and then us being able to breathe it out. All right, so workshop number 2 was on skill. So this weekend was skill. We were upping our skill. And in session 1, we just talked a little bit about this whole idea. And so we went to Exodus chapter 3, where the story of Moses there. And of course, we know that God has told Moses, says, hey, look, Moses, I've got a job for you. I need you to go deliver the children of Israel. And Moses kind of starts making some, you know what? I'm really not that good of a speaker. And we've been talking here for 5 minutes and I still haven't improved, right? And so, but the Lord asked him the question. He says, but who made your mouth? Now, I want you to think about that. God is asking us the same question right now through this. Who made your mouth? Just think about it, just like the lungs. Who made your mouth? And so the thing is, sometimes we have to stop allowing the excuses to come into place. And sometimes we actually create them. Right? So we start throwing, well, I can't sing. Well, you already started to limit yourself just by even saying that, as opposed to, you know what, I'm going to learn to sing better. Or I can sing, or I can improve singing. So when we talk about this, are we allowing, I'm going to say, the excuses that we make to take the place? And we talked about a few excuses. Like I said, I'm just not good at singing. Whatever, I can't sing the new songs. I don't like the style of the song, whatever. I'm not comfortable singing out loud. But then when you go back and you think about all the stuff that God has used to bless you with this form of singing, I want you to ask yourself, what excuse could I really come up with that would be valid? Just think about that right now. What excuse could I really come up with that would be valid? Now, if you're sick, that's something totally different, right? God holds you for what you have the ability to do and the opportunity. Okay? But if everything is going out, what excuse would really be a valid one? And so this one, and someone said they liked this saying that I shared up there yesterday, which was this. So the moment that we forget that praise is a privilege, we cease functioning as disciples and we become self-proclaimed divas. Okay, praise is a privilege. It's a wonderful thing that God has given us the opportunity to do. So God is asking you the same question that he asked Moses when he said, who created your mouth? And so he asked Moses, he's like, what's that in your hand? And so then I'm asking you, what is that here in your mouth, your voice, your mind? He says a staff, and so then God uses that staff. He's given us a voice. And so now how do we actually use that voice? So how are we using it? In what ways are we using it? Is there anyone in here who believes that they can't sing? I didn't say sing in tune. I didn't say hit the notes. But is there anyone in here who can't sing, right? So when you put can as a word of possibility, it means you're just not capable of. It has nothing to do with the way that it sounds or it doesn't sound good or whatever. It just means that you just don't have the ability to. It's a word of power. Okay. So if that's the case, if we all can, then if we're talking about skillful, now the next question is, well, how can I improve what I'm offering him, what I'm offering God? And so that's why we've been using the verse from 1 Chronicles chapter 25 and verse 7, who were skilled in singing to the Lord and were skillful, right? That just means that they're practicing. Now, once again today when we sing, I want you to visualize this, okay? I want you to visualize. So if you had to sing the national anthem, you had to sing whatever at a presidential inauguration, would you warm up? Would you get yourself ready? And I'm sure you probably would say, yeah, because you know what? I don't want to be embarrassed. And so you would practice. Okay, so the one who has created everything and given you everything, would you prepare yourself to be skillful for that? Okay, so that was lesson one. That was something for us to think about. And so it was, we don't make excuses, we make progress. Okay. Our second session, we just talked a little bit, and this was about breath control, but the story was knocking down and shaking down the walls, and we just used the story of Jericho here. Okay, I might get a little personal with you guys here. How do you feel? What comes to mind to you when you literally raise your voice in your singing? What's going through your mind? Anybody? When you're singing loudly, what's going through your mind? You're too loud? Off pitch? Somebody might hear me. The what? Can't sing that high.
I've forgotten everything about the song.
I forgot everything about the song.
I'm emotionally engaged in the song.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is interesting because the reality is when you're actually more engaged in the song, it actually changes your singing. Right? So it's like yesterday when we did the one song, Resurrection Power. It didn't take you guys any long to learn that song. And I could tell, wow, they're connecting with that song because I could hear it in your voice. It was coming from here out to here. But I want you to notice the things that we came up with. Oh, I feel uncomfortable. Oh, I think someone's going to hear me. But wait a minute, aren't I supposed to be speaking to one another? Right? So if I'm speaking to you, if I go like this, yeah, what can I say? Exactly. And so am I at least speaking where it can be heard? Because remember, you're encouraging the next person that is there next to you, that you're singing, that is looking to you. Oftentimes, at workshops, I have the congregation stand and face each other. So you are speaking to one another. You are looking into each other's eyes. And so you're taking me where you're going because I'm seeing how much this song means to you, and it's encouraging me to tap into what this song means for me. And sometimes that feels uncomfortable, maybe because of cultural upbringing, whatever those different type of things. But it's interesting because when you look in the Old Testament, right, those people, they would sing. They would have a good time. Because God created music to do those different type of things. And we see it in different places, as we said in Nehemiah chapter 12, when they were dedicating the wall. And we see that when they sung that Jerusalem was the spot, but the other areas around Jerusalem, that joy could be heard. And so that's the thing I want you to think about. Are we singing in such a way that our joy can be heard? The last point that we kind of focused on was this whole idea that's called the Song of Moses. And there's actually two songs of Moses. One, of course, we saw in Deuteronomy and one in Exodus. So when they cross the river there, the sea, they sing the songs called the Song of Moses. And then they sing another one, of course, in Deuteronomy. And so the idea I just brought up for you was for this, to think about this, and really think about this for today. So in Revelation chapter 15, verses 1 through 3, 4 through 5, and it just talks about them singing. They sing the song of Moses, and they sing the song of Moses and the Lamb. And so the things I wanted you to think about just with that, to impress upon your minds how important it is to think that they sing in heaven a song that was written here. The Song of Moses, wherever the Song of Moses is. And so when you really think about it from that perspective, it's like, wow, how connected is God with us, the Father, Son, and Spirit, that in heaven, the throne, they sing a song that was written by mortal men, us. And they sing that song, whatever that song is, but it's called the Song of Moses, and then there's a song of the Lamb. And so just let your mind extrapolate a little bit. And what if when we get to heaven, they'll be singing some of the songs that were written here? Could you imagine that? What if we get to heaven and maybe a song that you wrote, we sing? Wouldn't that be awesome? See, those are the type of thoughts I believe that God wants us to focus on. He wants us to see how important that we are to Him, how much He wants to be part of our life, and the things that He's asking for each and every of us. So now I just want to focus on for our last few moments here, and this is we're going to call it Finding Joy in the Song. Okay, Finding Joy in the Song. Now we know the scripture quite well because we use it quite a bit. So I praise you, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. I believe that God has placed within us, it says He's placed eternity within us, so that's probably one of the reasons we're one of the, I'm going to say, the human beings that ask the question, what happens after this. But I think God has also placed within us, even I'm going to say within our physiology, that we just kind of know that there's something that goes beyond this world or his majesty. So for example, when you go to Mount Rainier or you go to the Grand Canyon, and especially if you haven't seen it, when you see it for the first time, you just kind of go, and there's just something that inside of you, like you're just so knows, and it's praising God for this, for actually what he has done. It's almost as if God has just placed within us something that recognizes that there is something beyond that is bigger to us, whether we want to actually acknowledge it, or not. So we're going to talk about just 11 reasons to sing, okay? So we're going to start with the physical first. All right, do you guys know that singing is actually good for your immune system? Immune system. Yeah, takes in more oxygen. That's one thing that it does. It's also working with the macrophages actually in your body. So it's great for your immune system. Okay? Okay, so if I haven't convinced you any other reason, why should I sing? One is like, it's good for your health. It's really good for your health. It's good for your physical health. And they've done just research studies, and they keep doing research study on singings and choirs and people and things singing together. And they're just noticing all the different effects that actually the music actually has in people's life. Singing actually is a workout. Okay? Now you guys have learned that with me, standing up, sitting down, doing all the breath control, whatever exercises. And when you do this one, right? Keep doing that, you'll get a nice six-pack ab. Takes quite a bit, but it can be done. Right? Singing actually is a workout. And that's why we had learned, when you do it, your blood pressure actually raises a little bit, your pupils are doing different things, your heart rate is actually increasing. Because singing actually is a workout. Here's one maybe that you don't think about. And so this is one of the reasons when we're singing, I'll ask you to stand and stuff, because actually singing actually helps your posture. So when you're standing, correctly, and you're breathing and you're using the diaphragm, what it's doing is actually aligning and pulling your body straight. Okay, and it's actually giving the diaphragm actually more room. So actually you're breathing better, you actually have better mobility, you're actually increasing your circulation, you're improving your concentration. All these things are taking place. And I think that's one of kind of the nice things now about using PowerPoint. It kind of forces you to at least look up, right? And so instead of being down here, it actually kind of forces you to actually look up again. And so you're actually working on your posture, whether you realize it or not. What else is singing good for? It helps with sleep. Helps with sleep. Okay, so once again, this is working, of course, on the neurotransmitters, the serotonin, those different type of things that are going on. And that's one of the reasons, that I remember when I was a kid, of course, I always had the radio on, but it would be some type of noise that would actually keep me calm. Some people, they'll play ocean, whatever music or something like that. But the whole idea is what it does is it puts the brain, whatever, into a certain state, okay? So those are the physical reasons for us to sing. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of the mental, the psychological, and emotional benefits of singing that God has given us. This one is a really important one, a natural antidepressant. And it's interesting, at least for me, and this is one of the things like, because you guys know I coach, and I usually coach like abuse survivors, those different type of things, and we usually have a lot of mental issues that are going on that comes with it, especially from childhood, that just continue with it. And so oftentimes when I'm coaching and I'm working with individuals, depending on whatever, like meds, whatever that they're on and stuff, I'll even ask them, like, do you sing or do you enjoy music, right? And if they do, what I do is I try to get them to incorporate some type of music or something into their little regimen and see how that actually works for them. And usually what we try to do, we try and find, music, of course, that calms them down and does different things, because music is a natural antidepressant. A natural antidepressant. Okay? So listening to it does something to you, but singing it actually increases the effect. It increases the effect. And you can tell that because, like, when your favorite song, whatever, comes on the radio, you could be going through whatever it is, but for that 3 minutes and 27 seconds, you're singing and you're there with that song. I don't know, whoever it is, REO Speedwagon, Beyonce, whoever, the Beach Boys, and you're there and you're singing, boom, 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 and look how quickly your mood changed. Just that quick. Because that's the power that singing, that's the power that music actually has. It's actually an antidepressant, okay? So it starts to release the endorphins and things in our system. Now, one of the reasons it is because actually, so in your ears, if your ears are covered, okay, and there's nothing going on in there, there's a little organ, tiny organ in your brain, and it's called the soculus, okay? It's called the soculus. And what it does, it responds to frequencies that are actually created by singing. So it actually responds to frequencies created by singing. And so what happens is this response, it creates a sense of actual pleasure. And so regardless of whether, your singing sounds, whatever, when it hits that soculus, and to see, I think I got a picture. Oh, there it is, right there. So when it hits that, then that starts to respond, and that actually starts changing your mood. Okay, it starts changing your mood. Fearfully, wonderfully made and created. God has placed all these things together for us. And then also, of course, it depends on the megahertz and stuff, actually, of the sound frequency that's going on too, because there's a sensitivity range. I think it's like from 50 hertz up to 1,000 hertz. But usually we respond or peak at somewhere between 300 and 350, whatever, megahertz. Lowers stress. Okay, lowers stress. Now I'm going to ask you guys to actually try some of these techniques. When you're feeling stressed out, and this is the reason I want you to learn the song so they just come to your head. When you're feeling stressed out, I want you to just start thinking, okay, let me sing a song. Just let me sing a song. Let me sing a song. I just want you to, as soon as you feel stressed out, whatever, or you start worrying about something, I want you to just start singing a song. And see what it does for you. See if it actually lowers your stress. It could be one of the old songs, it could be whatever the new songs, whatever that we're learning. But I want you just to just start doing that and focusing on that. Because then what happens is the cortisol, which is your stress hormone, actually begins to decrease, right? And then that's when the serotonin actually comes in and you start feeling kind of, hopefully, that well feeling. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you to that. When you start feeling stressed, just start singing. Start singing some of the songs. Okay, singing. It improves mental alertness, right? Especially with the songs we've been learning. Right? You're like, where are we going? Up, down, left, right, bass, soprano, alto. Can I hear? Yeah, it does. It actually helps your mental alertness because it helps you to actually focus in on whatever it is. And that's one of the reasons when I'm working with my clients, I have them to actually use music, because then that's what it does. It takes that focus time from whatever's distracting out here, and it forces them to focus on whatever the song or whatever is going on there. So then it's actually helping to create less distraction. All right, social benefits of singing. The first one, of course, is oxytocin. Okay, oxytocin. So this is the wonderful hormone we all get to experience. Okay, women get to experience, especially during childbirth. Okay? So that's how you can push for 16 hours. And then that baby comes out and you think it's the cutest thing you've ever seen, even though you feel like they just tortured you for 16 hours. Right? That's why you can pop it out. Oh, they're so cute. And the husband's like, but you were just yelling and screaming at me and whatever. Yeah, but they're so cute. Right? That's what oxytocin does. Or when you're working with your spouse or couples, right? And man, you're having arguments and those different type of things. And then they might just come over and they might just hug you. And if they hold you, I think it is for about 20 seconds, and you believe that the person actually does love you, the oxytocin kicks in and whoosh, there you go. Okay. So what happens is actually when we start singing, the oxytocin is released in our system in such a way it causes us to bond with each other. And that's physiological. That's hormones. You haven't even hit the spiritual stuff yet. Right? So just from that, so then do you understand the perspective of us being here together? Being here in the same place together. Being in the same proximity of one another, so that all these things that God has created can actually come together for good and work with us. All right, here's another reason for singing. It actually boosts your confidence. It actually boosts your confidence. Now, what is interesting as I work with you and I with you guys, I can tell where your confidence level is by the singing. Right? And so, because I'm always monitoring and figuring out, okay, we're going to be able to use that, whatever. Do they feel comfortable with that song? Do they feel confident with that song or not? And you can tell when you get to a song that you guys feel confident about. It shows, you can actually hear it. But well, actually, music actually boosts your confidence. And so just think about stage fright. Stage fright actually is a common thing for singers, right? However, when you're performing and you're receiving whatever your friends and stuff and your family there, the oxytocin is going. Usually you'll notice that most people, what happens is, if they do have stage fright, once they get past the first couple of notes, then what happens is some other neurotransmitters, the dopamine and stuff starts kicking in and then off they go. Right? So then their confidence actually starts to get a boost. And then what we know, what music does, it helps us to broaden our communication skills. So this is one of the reasons Doctor used to always say that, usually we notice that babies, where the parents actually sing to them more, we notice that their communication skills are usually better. And that's because, one, we've got the tonal, the megahertz and things that are going in, but what happens also as you're holding the baby and you're singing to the baby, they're actually watching and trying to mimic your lip movement. All that in just that little baby that you're holding there, that you're singing to. And so they're looking at, and they have those strange little looks on their face. And they're trying to figure out what your lips are doing so that they can actually mimic those things. And then the last one is this. It increases your ability to appreciate other people who sing. It appreciates other people who sing. Now, maybe that's a little bit easier for me, so hearing music and stuff and like that, and I can tell when a certain person's not here or not here because that note is hit or it's not hit, or someone hits the note in a unique way, whatever, and it's like, wow, just makes me appreciate. I remember there's one song we used to sing, and there was this young lady, and she just had this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful voice, but you could tell when she was there because she would just hit that note and it would just change. Everybody like, wow, I really appreciate that person and what they're bringing to the singing. They're not showing off. They're using what God has given them. And what they're using is actually inspiring everyone else. It's actually encouraging everyone else. And so I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. I want to close this out with us singing one song, and I think you guys already know it, Cornerstone. The new version of Cornerstone. Three lobes. I'm going to play it one more time, and now I'm going to ask you to incorporate whatever your visualization is. Get that visualization down. And then the third time, we're going to actually sing the song, and you're going to put all the pieces together. So now I just need you to crop whatever your visualization is for this song, Cornerstone. When darkness seems to hide its face, maybe you're going through some rough times, some hard times, whatever that brings for you, I want you to create your visualization now. Okay? Connect with the words. Visualize. Do. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I cannot trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I cannot trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. When darkness seems to hide His face, I rest on His unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, I anchor hope within the veil. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. When He shall come with trumpet sound, oh, may I then in Him be found, dressed in His righteousness alone, faultless stand before the throne. Faultless stand before the throne. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong through the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. Thank you guys for everything. 3 days. And so now prepare ourselves to go before the throne once again, and we'll worship Him very soon. So get yourself ready. Thank you.